Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review. And viewing at a film, another animated film. Which is a film I thought was alright. Wasn't that bad, but it was an okay, decent animated film. And today I'm reviewing is the 2005 animated film called Valiant, which is about a pigeon named Valiant, which is him right there. The film came out. Well, it's also a British animated film, which came out like this was released in 2005. It came out like a few months in the UK, but then until it was released in August in 2005 in the US, and but I understand why it gets negative reviews. It has like I think it was a 5.4, 5.6 on IMDb, and has a 31% Rotten Tomatoes. And it didn't do well in the U.S. Even though for an anime film, for a budget that's on 35 million, it's not like what it's like. It's not because for the animation for a $35 million budget film, animated film, it's decent though. It's decent compared to like those big, huge budget animated films, like Wreck-It Ralph or Frozen or etc. But $35 million for an animated film is decent looking, but it's the quality. I don't know how I can explain. For the quality and stuff of these anime films, it's like a little bit of a tone down though. But like I said, it's a much lower budget animated film, And when it came out on opening weekend, didn't do well in the U.S. Forget what it got. What was it? Debut like a number 8 or 7 or whatever that rank, And it made only 19 million in the U.S. So it was a like a modernized flop in the U.S. though, because a $35 million budget made 19 million in the U.S. Didn't do well though, but they made some other money overseas. So combined total worldwide, it was 61 million. So maybe it's called a success though, but in the U.S. it's a decent flop, But the film, I thought, as I said, I think it's okay, I don't think it's not bad as low as a 31% Rotten Tomatoes. I understand that though, but I don't think I would give it. Maybe I would give it like maybe 50%, at least halfway, But and it has a pretty decent. One of the things I like about it is the decent, good size voice cast in the film, Ewan McGregor as Valiant, Ricky Gervais, as Bugsy, which is that one right there, the one, in the film he's a smelly pigeon with flies, always hovering over him, John Cleese as a pigeon named Mercury, John Hurt as a seagull named Felix, Hugh Laurie as Commander Gutsy, Tim Curry as the villain of the film, a falcon named General Von Talon. Yeah, the name's not the best either, but yeah. But and also Jim Broadbent as the pigeon, the sergeant who trains them, which Jim Broadbent has been films. I remember him in Hot Fuzz. He was Nick Frost's father. The chief of police in Hot Fuzz. And he has I remember he was in a small role in the fourth Indiana Jones film and Around the World in 80 Days remake, and remember that he won an Academy Award for supporting actor in a film called Iris. I think that was a 2001 film. But he's been in films though, but mostly British films though. But I recognize him by his name. But it does a decent, decent of voice casts. And with especially with Ewan McGregor, I think I liked him voice in Valiant the film, which in 2005, he's I think he starred in a few films that came out in 2005. This film, and then he was in 2005. He starred in The Island, the film that Michael Bay directed. Which I really do enjoy that film, and I liked him in that film as well. In my opinion, one of Michael Bay's best films. And underrated as well. And of course, in that same year, the Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Which I did not like. did not like the number 3, Revenge of the Sith. I think Ewan McGregor gives a better performance in Michael Bay's The Island than that film, or even I would even say his voice role in Valiant, I would say, is better than the Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. In my opinion. So, but that's one of the good things. I like Ewan McGregor's voice in this film. So, what is the film about? It's about it's during World War II. It's set in the year it sets in the year 1944, and it says tells a story about where during the war they used pigeons, to carry messages, send messages, probably was back in the day. I guess I think that's what they really did, They think that's what they did happen during World War II. They did send some pigeons in the war, to carry messages, But it's what you get. We're looking up based on a story. It's based on a story that by these few people that inspired the true stories of hundreds of pigeons that helped the soldiers in the war, which I buy, because there was, their animals can do some stuff during the war, that humans can't, but I buy that. Of course, if it's true that actually happened, then of course you have to buy it, So, but yeah, but I can see that though. But setting in the year 1944, Valiant, who's a small pigeon, he wants to sign up, he wants to be in the war, and he talks a little bit with his friend Felix, voiced by John Hurt, who's a seagull with a peg leg. We're into this little bar, and tells his mother. His mother doesn't want to leave. It doesn't want him to leave, but he goes anyway. So he's on his way to London to sign up, And then Ricky Gervais is this pigeon named Bugsy, who's a smelly pigeon with flies hanging around him. He does a thing to steal a couple of birds' seeds, and he tricks them. The two birds chase after him. Well, first Valiant drops in on them, falls on both of them, and he tells that he's gonna sign up. So, that's what I'm gonna do, because he wants to do it to get away from the two guys, that are chasing him, So they get to the point, they sign up. Um, I don't know why I'm yawning. Usually it's supposed to be bad films, makes me yawn, but yeah, whatever. So they sign up, they get into gets the little cage that they get transported to the military base, and along with a few other pigeons that signed up, like two of the pigeons that are brothers, for the names Toughwood and Tailfeather, and one another pigeon named Lofty. He has like the one, what's it called? That's a one glass, that people usually put over the eye. It's like glasses though, but it's one, like this, but it's only one, So it's only them five, and then they see Sergeant what's the pigeon's name? Sergeant Monty. He's the one that trains them, starts to give him push-ups, tells him, gets how their ways to, help during the war, it shows them how they get the showers, the haircuts, the food, the sleeping quarters, and even the nursing dove named Victoria, which Valiant fancies, who he likes, which is her there, and shows them, how they're training, doing like these formations, like figure eights, attack formations, shows them like they both could do things, and then sometimes they always like, hit each other and screwing up, they could call them Squad F, they're like, oh, you're the squad, or was it the soldiers of the future, and sees them screw up again, like hit each other. He says the far future, Um, and then also when during all this, it cuts back to it cuts back to the main villain's place, the the Falcon, the General Falcon. That Tim Curry voices, he's taking this one of these messenger pigeons hostage, voiced by John Cleese, named Mercury, tries to tell him, to get where's this location to this resistance group to give them the message, because there's a message that they need to get though, and the resistance have it, and he wants to find out their location, so he's not talking. It's a typical thing. There's always a way to make you talk. First he tries to torture him by listening to yodeling music, yodel yodel, whatever, yodeling music. Then give him this truth serum, which starts saying true things about himself, other than the telling the location, which eventually does, So it cuts back to that, a couple of times in between with them training, and then Gutsy comes in, voiced by Hugh Laurie, tells him that he lost his previous squad, so these new recruits, they're the only ones that can do this, even though they haven't completed their training, their orders, so they leave tomorrow. And of course, Bugsy, he doesn't want to do it because he's scared, but of course he comes back, which that's like a pointless thing, is because of course this thing does, they say that, but they eventually come back, which it's a typical thing. It's like, they say that, but then they end up coming back, which we know they're gonna come back, they just say that and then just eventually they come back, So he comes back, and then they're on their way, they're in these boxes, parachutes, the cages, and they drop the parachute, and their planes getting shot up, all of them fly out to the ground except Gutsy, whose cage is jammed, and then they see the plane explode, which they assume he's dead. They get recruited by the French resistance, which are these two mice. One of them is a girl, name what was it, Charles de Girl, yeah. So they take him to for the French village, in France, and they get chased by one of the Falcon generals, two soldiers, They get to the location. Receive the message. Bugsy says he'll take it. He'll take the message. Um, so they try to create a distraction, like the couple go this way and one of them goes this way. To make the two Falcon soldiers split up and go after them. So it'll be the diversion while Bugsy and Valiant go the other way towards, try to get the message back. But one of them outsmarts them, they chase them. Um, but eventually, the, 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 the Falcon catches Bugsy, brings it back to you could say their headquarters, I guess, which is in this bunker, So they get the message. He gets thrown into the cage with Mercury. Um, then all the other pigeons, they find out where he's at, and Gutsy, of course, which we know that he didn't die, he survived it, Um, he's gonna stake it out, but he says there's no other way except for a way in, which is through the barrel of the long gun, that's in the bunker, So Valiant is the only one that's small enough to fit in. He gets in. Finds Bugsy, tells him where they put the message in, and which is in this box, which along all these stuffed pigeons, that the Falcon, I guess, has killed, which I thought was kind of a bit unsettling, not in a bad way though, but just looking at all these pigeons are like this, with the faces, and you see all the stuff, like all this, they're stuffed, the stitches, like they open up here, and then stitched up, which I thought was a bit unsettling though, but it's only lasts for a couple seconds, And also one thing I was with some of the humor. Well, of course, with Bugsy, he's a smelly pigeon. Of course, there's instances where he burps, and of course, there's instances where he farts. Like I said, I don't like I said before, I don't like burp and fart jokes. There's no, I don't like that kind of humor. But no, that was one thing I thought one thing I thought was kind of that made me chuckle. Like during their training, like with the Sergeant Monty, he's like telling them, you need to know who's friend and who's foe, telling the difference between a pigeon and a falcon. He's like, friend or foe, or it's like, oh, friend, or foe, that's a foe, it's like, he keeps on pulling on the next picture, friend or foe, and then, as opposed to the next picture shows a picture of one of those, it's one of those pictures that, oh, fair, what was it called? It's a picture of a female pigeon, in a nice dress wearing a little fan, and it's like, oh, friend, they're all looking at those saying, oh, friend, and they're kind of laughing, and the Sashmaya looks and gets angry and makes him do more push-ups, I thought that kind of moment made me chuckle, But getting back, so he gets the message. Since he left his thing to carry the message back, he ends up swallowing it and shoving it down his throat, to keep it safe, And the key, he needs to get the key to unlock the cage, which really, the cage. Look at this cage. It looked like it was big enough for Bugsy to squeeze between the bars, It'd be a tight squeeze though, but it looks like he can be able to fit between the bars though, but well, But he tries to get the key while the Falcon General is taking a shower, and singing in the shower, and they create all these giant well, to them it's their giants though, but the giant golden bullets, to put the shoot out of the guns, gets the key, frees them, gets a Mercury, and they all fly out, and then they fly across the open sea, you know, and then they attack, you know, and Valiant goes off while the others, you know, they keep the other two Falcon soldiers distracted while Valiant goes up to deliver the message. While that's doing that, the General Falcon goes after Valiant. They chase him, you know, through the sea, then through past the train, and then back to his home, you know, where his mother is, you know, and they end up in this little fight in the barn, you know, or this is where his claws get stuck, and then Felix and other pitchers are dropping stuff on him, you know. Um, then he turns on the power. Valiant turns on the power in the barn, you know, and then gets an idea where he goes outside where the water wheel is, and he hooks him, you know, like he calls him, "You little pipsqueak," and he's like, "My name's not Pipsqueak. My name is not Pipsqueak. My name is Valiant," you know, and just leaves him for him to get his ass spanked by the wooden planks of the water wheel, you know. So he goes and delivers the message back into the army base. You know, tries to, you know, cough off the message, you know, gives it to him. Well, Sergeant Monty and this other pigeon look at him like, ugh, you know. So he gives him the message, and he's like this, you know, and then just goes and faints, you know. And what was important about this message was, it was a message that the humans, you know, the soldiers, you know, changed the plans, which shows the map, which let their ships go to a different part of the land, which is where they land in Normandy, you know, which Normandy is like also, which was the day that was called D-Day, you know. So the war helped bring the war to an end, you know, and then Valiant and his companions, you know, they get their award medals, you know, they throw the party back at the bar, you know. Um, all of his friends, they'll get the women, and Valiant, you know, and Victoria, they go outside and they kiss, you know, and then it shows like before the credits, you know, it shows in words, you know, shows how animals were able to save lots of lives during World War II, you know, and they were awarded medals, you know, called Dickon medals, as it was called, you know. Like it said that some were given to dogs, a few to horses, and one to a cat, and most of them went to the pigeons, you know. So yeah, I like Valiant. It's an okay film, you know. It's not overall that terrible, you know, as bad as a 31%. I don't think this film is that terrible, you know. It's just it's an alright animated film, you know. It's not that terrible as I think it is, you know. But positives, you know, I like the voice cast, you know. Ewan McGregor as Valiant, he was good, you know. Ricky Gervais as Bugsy, you know, even with the problems with some things, you know, him burp and farts, which I don't care for though, but he was alright. Tim Curry, you know, him as the villain, which the villain itself is not the best villain at all though, honestly. Him trying to do with the voice with a German accent, you know, for a Falcon, you know, but it's not the best villain, you know. It was there, you know. The villain was there though, but it's not the best villain though. But Tim Curry, voiced by Tim Curry, was all right. Other voice actors, Jim Broadbent, Hugh, Laurie, John Cleese, John Hurt, Olivia Williams. They were decent as well, you know. So yeah, overall it's an alright animated film, you know. Nothing for features. It's on for 76 minutes, but it's at a decent pace. You know, it's not as slow as I think it is. You know, the score, the music choices by George Finton. It was there. It was all right. You know, even though, you know, from the producer of Shrek and Shrek 2. You know, So yeah, it's overall it's an alright film. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. If you haven't seen it, but it's an alright anime film. It's not terrible. It's not. I don't think it's not as terrible as the 31% Rotten Tomatoes. I think it'd be a little bit more. I would say give it like a 50% rating. Half and half. But that's just my opinion. And if people dislike the film, that's fine. It's all opinion. So yeah, I like Valiant. It's an alright, decent animated film. So anyway, that's my review for Valiant. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. And one thing I forgot to mention is it came out once it came out in the year 2005. It's been 10 years since this film came out. It's another film that I already forgot what was another film that came out in 2005 that I forget though. But yeah, 10 years. It's not as terrible as it is. But anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.